Welcome to my channel, Explaining Biology Clearly. Today we're going to talk about carbohydrates. I'm going to look at one example, which are the monosaccharides. We'll talk a little bit about their structure and give some examples and their functions as well. So, carbohydrates. They're biological molecules. They're found inside living organisms. They contain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen only. So they're also known as organic molecules because they're carbon containing. Their functions are in energy supply and energy storage, and they can also be structural molecules, so actually part of the cell as well. Our focus today is going to be on the monosaccharides. Now mono, the word mono means one or single, and so these are the single units, the building blocks. Think of them as single circles, because when we come back to look at the dimers or the disaccharides, these are two monomers joined together, and when we come to look at the polymers, the polysaccharides, these are many of these monomers joined together. So going back to these monosaccharides, these monomers, I'll give you one example, which is glucose. So over here on the right hand side of the screen, you can see two different types of glucose, two ways in which it can exist: alpha glucose and beta glucose. And this is their structure. If you have a look at them, I don't know if you can spot a difference between the two of them there. I'll give you just a moment, see if you can see any difference in their structure. If you look at this carbon here, that's known as carbon 1. That carbon has got an OH group and a hydrogen attached to it on both alpha and beta glucose, but the position of the OH group is different on the two. So it's at the bottom of carbon 1 and alpha glucose, and at the top of carbon 1 on beta glucose. So these two molecules are known as isomers. They've got the same chemical formula, which is C6H12O6, but they've got a different structure. So those atoms are arranged differently. So they're known as structural isomers. So the formula, as I said, is C6H12O6, and that makes them hexo sugars. That makes both of these glucoses hexo sugars or hexoses because they've got 6 carbons. So it refers to the number of carbons, not the shape, the number of carbons that the molecule has. So that's one type of monosaccharide that you see. That's quite a complicated structure. I think the key idea is to remember its shape and the position of carbon 1 and carbon 4, because these will be involved in bonds. So also the groups that you find around those carbons in particular. That's the main thing to be concerned with. So other examples of monosaccharides include fructose, which is another hexo sugar. Again, it's an isomer of glucose, so it has the same chemical formula but a different structure. Fructose is found in fruit. It's joined to glucose to form a disaccharide called sucrose. So another monosaccharide that you should be familiar with is fructose. Another one is galactose. Again, this is a hexose, so it has the same formula. and is found in milk. It's joined to glucose to form lactose. And we'll have a look at sucrose and lactose in my disaccharide video. There are other monosaccharides that you may have to be aware of. So other monosaccharides include ribose, which is found in RNA. It's a pentose, so it has 5 carbons. So this is its formula. So what you might notice, sorry, that should be a 5. What you might notice is that there's twice as many hydrogens as carbons and oxygens in monosaccharides. And another one, which is quite a famous one, deoxyribose, which is in DNA, also a pentose sugar. So again, it has the same formula as ribose, but it must be an isomer. What else? Triose, a triose sugar, which, for an example of which, is glyceraldehyde. This has got 3 carbons. So those are your important monosaccharides. What are their uses? So the uses of these are in respiration. So they supply energy. So they can be broken down to release the energy that's trapped in their bonds. So between these carbons, hydrogens and oxygens, there is energy. When that molecule is broken down, that energy is released. And that is then used to produce a molecule called ATP. So the energy in the glucose, for example, is released when it's broken down, and it's transferred into the bonds in ATP. ATP can then later be broken down to release that energy when it's needed by the cell. It's just a better way of storing energy in smaller quantities than you find in these larger monosaccharides. So that's its main use. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back to my channel to see further videos on the disaccharides and the polysaccharides. Thanks very much.